Breaking news from the NFL into the Fanfare newsfeed.
Got a bit of breaking news out of the Miami Dolphins camp today, late on Monday, 5:15, 5:20 or so. Adam Schefter broke the story. Also, local news here in South Florida broke the story that Tyreek Hill has reached a settlement with the boat employee, the marina employee that he slapped upside the head. Fantastic news, but as I've told you all along, that's not the issue. Him hitting this guy in the head was not going to stop what the NFL was going to do. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's see what has been reported. As I mentioned, this just in from the Miami Herald at 5:17 p.m. today on the 24th. An update on Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill's marina boat dispute. I guess you can call it a dispute. Highlighted some passages here for you. The Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office review into an alleged physical altercation involving Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill last month continues. Understand that. The legal drama continues, even though these people have, settled on some sort of cash settlement probably. Even as reported on Monday said the individuals at the center of the incident have reached a resolution. So they have settled. The Miami-Dade state attorney has not resolved anything, so that's still pending. That's very important to consider and to remember. Too many people over on Twitter are already hitting me up, go, see, it's all over. It's a nothing burger. Not yet. Not yet. Let's continue. The parties to this is a quote from the actual release that they put out. The parties to the incident, which occurred on June 18th, 2023 at the Haulover Marina involving Tyreek Hill, have resolved their differences. ESPN reported, citing a joint statement from Julius Collins, the attorney for Hill, and Evan Feldman, the attorney for the employee of the Kelley Fleet in the marina. Ed Griffin, listen to this, a spokesperson for the state's attorney, later told the Herald in an email that their review of the matter is continuing. It's ongoing. So, I guess right now, everybody who had a question must understand that it was Tyreek Hill. There were some people who were saying it might not be Tyreek. The video is going to clear it up. We're not going to know who did it. Maybe it was one of Tyreek's friends. No. Tyreek Hill hit the guy upside the head, and the two parties have come to some sort of settlement. More than likely, that settlement involved paying off some cash, which is what they're entitled to do. However, what the two parties decide to do does not necessarily affect two other parties. One, the Miami-Dade state's attorney can still seek charges. Now, it might be very tough for them to do that with an uncooperative witness. You see, the employee may decide at this point that he doesn't want to be an adversarial witness. He doesn't want to press charges on Tyreek. He's got the check. He's ready to move forward. He doesn't want to get involved. So it's unlikely. I mean, at this point, seeing what's happened, it's very unlikely that the Miami-Dade State's Attorney's Office is going to be able to bring charges against Tyreek Hill, knowing that the boat employee is probably not going to cooperate with the investigation. So let's wait to hear from that, but that's probably going to be the actual nothing burger that everybody has been waiting for and talking about. However, the thing that isn't a nothing burger is what is Roger Goodell and the NFL going to do. That has been the basic substance of my entire videos, the library of videos I've done about Tyreek in this incident. I knew the Miami-Dade state's attorney wasn't going to have a huge case. At worst, it's a misdemeanor. No big deal. I knew eventually this guy was going to get paid off and get some money. Everybody knew that. That's not what I was referring to. What I was referring to is, what is the NFL going to do about the personal conduct policy? I'm actually happy that this stuff is done. Now everyone who watched my videos, I won't get any more comments about, oh my God, it's a nothing burger. Now you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now you'll begin to see how long it takes Roger Goodell to decide what he and his security team are going to do. They may do nothing. They may suspend him. They may fine him. They may do a number of different things. The point you have to understand right now is that Roger Goodell and the personal conduct policy that Tyreek is governed under, that's what the problem is at this point. Nothing has changed in regards to how I reported this story and how I made my videos. I knew, as you probably knew, somebody was going to get a check here. I knew, as you probably knew, that slapping somebody upside the head is a misdemeanor at worst. Guy didn't get hurt, didn't go to the hospital, none of that happened, so it's probably just a misdemeanor that he's going to get charged with if he gets charged at all. No big deal there. No argument for me. That's all that would happen in the criminal side of things. Now let's go over to the NFL courthouse, where I read to you in a video. I spent a long time going line by line by line through this thing called the PCP, the Personal Conduct Policy. I outlined to you that unlike the legal team, who can't bring in other crimes, they can't look at Tyreek's past. You have to look at a crime just in the actual crime that took place. That's it. And if you're just looking at this, if this is the only thing on your plate is that Tyreek slapped some guy upside the head, there's no meat there. There's no meat on that plate. That's not what Roger Goodell has available to him. Roger Goodell can go back, and I'm sure he will, and look at Tyreek's history. Playing in the NFL, as I've mentioned, is a privilege. It's not a right. You just don't get to play in the NFL. It's not a matter of innocent until proven guilty. None of that matters. I said this over and over and over again. I keep getting people commenting to me about a man's innocent until he's proven guilty. That's in a criminal court. That is not in the NFL with Roger Goodell and his security team. I don't know what it takes for you guys some of you guys to understand that huge difference. It's a massive difference. Criminal court here, personal conduct policy here. The two of them have nothing to do with each other than what he can review, meaning what Roger Goodell's team can review. He's not going to be charged with a misdemeanor by Roger Goodell. He's not going to be put in jail by Roger Goodell. The Miami-Dade State's attorney can't suspend Tyreek Hill. The Miami-Dade State's attorney can't look at Tyreek's history. You have to understand the huge difference here. Now, if you understand that, and you understand that the governing thing that Tyreek Hill has to worry about, that the Miami Dolphins have to worry about, it is singularly the personal conduct policy. I've said that from the beginning. People didn't understand what I was talking about. Now you know. Now you know, hey, this thing's off the table. It's resolved. Yep, it's resolved in as far as the criminal courts. But Roger Goodell is still reviewing this. At some point, who knows how long it'll take him to review. When I say he, I'm talking about his entire team. Obviously, Roger Goodell's not doing the work on this. But what Roger Goodell's team is going to do is they're going to say, okay, they resolved this criminal issue, but we still have the conduct problem. A lot of people in this day and age don't seem to understand that it's conduct that can get you in trouble. Yeah, conduct can also put you in jail, but the conduct of a professional athlete has to be here. You're held to a different standard. And Roger Goodell can do basically anything he wants. Barry, that sounds really broad. It's really broad. You're playing in the NFL as a privilege. You can get a hand slap or you can get the hand cut off. That's all dependent upon how he views Tyreek Hill's conduct. Now, there's one interesting thing here that you have to know, that it also has to have somebody else cooperating. The witness, the victim, has to say, hey, this is what happened, and be involved in that. Roger Goodell can't really do anything. When I say Roger Goodell, I'm talking about the team. They can't really do anything if nobody's cooperating. So when you see on Twitter or you see on YouTube that this thing is all over and that it's been a nothing burger, understand the personal conduct policy. I'm not going to go over it again. but it's what I've talked about since the very beginning. If you're interested in knowing more about the personal conduct policy, I did a lengthy video of it. It's going to be here or here. So go ahead and take a look at that. But take a look at it if you don't understand how this thing is different. How it's completely different. You got the legal side here and the misdemeanor charges and stuff like that, and you've got the personal conduct policy, which is now the governing document, code, that Tyreek Hill is going to be potentially reprimanded under. Talk to you soon. Fins up.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?